Good evening. This is a regular meeting of the Molalla City Council for May 13th, 2026. Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to remind all participants, including staff, elected officials, and members of the public that Robert's Rules of Order will be enforced in this meeting. We welcome your opinions and look forward to your polite participation. Audience members, we request that you silence your cell phones and not conduct side conversations during the meeting. Thank you. Up next, we'll do roll call, beginning with Councilor Basinius.
Councilor Basinius present.
Councilor Bartholomew present. Council President Vermillion present.
Mayor Kaiser present.
Councilor Childress present.
Councilor Schenkel present.
Councilor Gilmer present.
Dan Huff, City Manager, present.
City Recorder Christy Teets present.
Dan Zender, Planning Manager, present.
Rebekah Murcray, Library Director, present.
Diana Hadley, Library Director Emeritus, present.
Bobby Call, Police Lieutenant, present.
Matt Corthell, Assistant City Manager, present.
All right, are there any changes to the agenda tonight?
That's funny.
None this evening.
All right. May I have a motion to, do we need to do a motion to approve the agenda? Okay, moving on. I thought we did for some reason. Been a while since we've been here. Consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved in second. Is there any discussion? Christie, we call the roll.
Mayor, I apologize. I don't know who seconded this motion. Council President, thank you. All right, calling roll. Councilor Gilmer.
Aye.
Councilor Schenkel.
Aye.
Councilor Childress.
Aye.
Council President Vermillion.
Aye.
Councilor Bartholomew.
Aye.
Councilor Vicinius.
Aye.
Mayor Kaiser.
Aye.
Thank you. Vote passes 7-0.
Up next, presentations, proclamations, and ceremonies. Mr. Huff, you are up.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun night tonight. I want to introduce Rebekah Murcray. She kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit when we went through the introductions, but we have appointed Rebekah our new library director.
Wow.
And a couple of things, and then you can grill her if you choose. But she's been with us for a bit, and Diana has been working hard at trying to prepare her for the day that she decides to hang it up, which we'll talk about later. So
Next.
welcome, Becca.
Thank you. I'm
Well-
super excited to be here. So,
Congratulations. How long have you been with the city?
8.5 years.
Oh, wow.
So,
Council?
Congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
All right. We'll be nice this time.
thank you.
We'll see you next week at budget.
Okay.
Yeah, she already knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're still at?
And I also, as you know, Diana introduced herself as Library Director Emeritus, okay, I think. And that's because Diana, as you all know, is retiring at the end of this month. And there was we'll get together over at the library today, and no matter what the rumors are, I did not make Diana cry. She cried on her own because I thought it was a good idea for her to make a little speech.
That's what made me cry.
Yeah.
So anyway, Diana's been here for 12 years and came here a little over a year after I got here. And she has done some amazing things with the library, as you all know, from where it was to what it is today. And some of that information was evident with some of the library directors from around the county who showed up today to support her in her retirement, and that's always a good thing. So, and
Becca's gonna go first.
oh, And I guess Becca's gonna go first for phase 2
Okay.
before I do.
I'm working so hard and it's not happening over here, so
Okay.
please continue.
That's okay. So I've been here 8.5 years, and Diana's main goal when she came here in 2014 was to really increase community engagement with the library and focusing on making the library a welcoming place for everyone, and also a vital part of the community. So what you can't see is in 2014, there were 136 programs and 4,993 participants. As of the end of the last fiscal year,
Yeah,
20
there
There you go.
2025. You can see there's 286 programs last year, and we had 9,889 participants.
Wow.
So she increased the programs in her tenure by 71% and participants by 66%, which for a library the size of Molalla is really, really huge and awesome. She's always been searching for ways to increase Molalla Library's community engagement, whether it's through the bookmobile, serving the community during COVID, which was lots of fun. We had make and take bags for patrons and spice programs. We've had citizenship classes. She's had cultural events like Dia de los Muertos and Dia del Niño. Music in the Park has become a staple for our summer program. We have homebound delivery service. We do outreach to schools and homeschoolers. She's participated in 12 summer reading programs, which is a lot. She hosted an eclipse party, which I missed barely, but I heard was epic, especially in the bathrooms. And she's also created physical improvements to the library, such as new carpeting, new parking lot, sidewalks, improved seating in the conference room, and so much more. So I'm really grateful that you've been my boss for this time. You've been an amazing mentor, and I'm gonna make you cry. I also count you as a good friend. So I just feel like she has left the library in a strong place within our staff, but also within the community as well. And I'm so grateful to her for that.
Did you hand me the thing?
She had
So the next thing we have for Diana is a little plaque for her. I think you guys have seen these before.
Oh, neat.
That's from
Yeah.
Diana. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
so cool.
Any light comments? I don't, be nice, guys.
Congratulations on your retirement. I can only speak for my family, but they love going to the library and working with you and your staff. You've done a wonderful job. I appreciate it. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed over the past few years, people have always asked why we never hear about your library. We never hear any issues. And I always say, I don't know, go ask Diana. And now I have to start practicing, go ask Rebekah. You both have made this library very, very easy for us. When other cities are cutting staffing, when they're cutting services and going below the thresholds where they're supposed to be, and you guys are laughing and saying, more, here's more. Thank you. Thank you for making our lives so much easier. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, I want to say congratulations and wish you so much happiness in your retirement. Get to slow down some. And thank you for what you have done here. Your numbers alone are remarkable. but knowing you and the passion that you have and the way that you've actually cared for our children in the community and all, speaks volumes. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
I wasn't prepared for this, of course,
No.
but I too, I want to thank you too. You have, I know when I first came on, you were one of the first people that I met, and you kind of helped me along and explained a few things and stuff, and I know you're very passionate about what you do, and it's amazing. I mean, I never knew that much about the library, and it's just a place you had to go and look up stuff for homework when I was young. So it's so much more now, and all the classes and stuff that you can take, and all the things you do with the kids and stuff. And I know that comes from your ideas, your dreams, and you've put that onto your staff and have encouraged them to come up with ideas and think outside the box. And so I think you're going to be leaving it in good hands, because you've trained her, right?
Yes.
That's
yes.
right.
I'm very confident.
Yep,
very
she's had a good
confident in her
teacher.
abilities.
So anyway, I hope you thoroughly enjoy your retirement, and we'll have to get together and discuss it sometime.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just real quick. Diana, you've done a tremendous job. I mean, when I've got grandkids that come over and say, we need to go to the library, Grandpa, there's something special that's going on there. And the kids, you can tell. So thank you for what you've done for the community, not just for the children of the community, but for even the adults and all of those within city limits, outside of city limits.
Mm-hmm.
Just thank you so much for what you've done, and I know that you've left it in great hands.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, sir.
I think, if you were at the shindig over at the library this afternoon, when I didn't make Diana cry, I think there's something that Diana said that I felt very good about, and that was she thanked me for allowing her to create this situation that it currently is in the library. I didn't have anything to do with it. She did it. I just said do it, and she did. And we do have a very good library. It's beloved in this community, and we don't seem to have, as you said, Mayor, some of the issues that some of the other places are having. And my hope is that whatever training that Diana has provided to Becca, that it will be even bigger and better. And the other thing I'll add is we have talked since Diana has been here about the need for a new library. Since day one, I think, almost. We weren't in a position to go forward until now, and we still have more work to do. But it's interesting that it's a little bit similar to what former Chief Rod Lusich, Police Chief Rod Lusich, had done when we didn't really get started on the new police station until he left. He's obviously come back and joined us for groundbreakings and grand openings, and he's very proud of it. And Diana will have the same kind of a legacy when this building's done. She can come back. She's part of it and got it going. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But thank you again.
Thank you.
You have anything to say? You missed the silence our cell phones.
I'm trying to turn it off. it's making noises at me while I'm trying to shut it off. Sorry about
It's
that.
trying to get you in trouble.
It's succeed.
And you're still up, Mr. Huck. Actually, Christy, Councilor Schenkel's having an issue with her computer.
Yeah, I am. I can't get into the
You want
agenda.
to help
I'm
her?
happy to help,
Yeah.
certainly.
So I think you might all have that issue.
I did.
Okay, so if you go to the far left tab on your screen where it says City Council Meetings and Agendas, click on that.
We're no longer at that same screen.
You should have that on the far left tab
Of any?
of your, and then if you go to council meeting and agendas on that calendar, tell me more about the council meeting. Then if you just click on the packet instead of the agenda, it'll give you the whole packet where you can scroll down through it.
Are you the one who redid this, Matt?
He wouldn't tell you if he was
He wouldn't
either.
let you do it right now.
This is way over my head.
Yeah, I had a hard time
You saw what happened with the cell phone.
I can't even turn off my cell phone without making noise.
You know how bad I am at this.
Thank you, Christy.
Yes, thank you very much.
Certainly.
Mr. Huff, you're still up.
So thank you. If you all could turn to page or scroll, if you can scroll, to page 27. We're going to give you a quick update on the library preliminary design. And as you all know, we put that in the budget for this current fiscal year. We didn't start the process until December or January of this fiscal year, and we are at the end point of what we were looking to do. And there's 4 bullet points on the memo there that we were looking for. One of them was projected project costs. We had to get a ballpark of what this thing was going to cost, so that we knew how we have some funding, but we don't believe we have enough. So we need to go find that funding, which is Becca's first job, and she will have that done by the end of the calendar year, and then move forward. So just kidding. So we need a design to go find that funding. You need to show people what you want to build in order to submit a grant application or through any of the programs that we might look for to find additional funding. The other thing that we needed to know was how we were going to interface this current building with the new library, because the library is taking over a portion of this building, but not all of it. You know, where Mr. Corthel's crew is behind, in the front part of the building here, that's all going to become part of the library. And so we needed to figure out how to do that. And the other thing that we were able to find out was how we were going to be able to phase the project. Can we do some of this project early? In fact, I was just talking to our AV folks tonight about potentially getting, because we're going to need to move them for the new library. So can we move them early? Get that out of the way. And Mac has some excellent folks that think about those kinds of things, and so they're already starting to figure out, are there some things that we can do early? How would we do that? How can we save money? Because we kind of think, even though we have a $12.08 million price tag, we think we can do it for less. So we're going to spend some time looking for those areas to do it for less and do some phasing. Because as you know, we have to be able to continue to hold council, planning commission, and court in this building, even down the road when the library is under construction. So we're going to be working on that. And if you look at page 28, that is the preliminary site plan. Now when you look at that, you can see the library expansion scope. So most of that will be out into the existing parking lot over here. And then as you can see, they're going to take over the office space that community development is currently in right now. And then we have some interface area in the back end of this building. And then the second page is the preliminary floor plan. And I will remind you, some of the stuff could change by the time we get to actual construction. Becca could look at this long and hard for the next 3 years and decide it's not a good plan, so. And then the last one is the elevations and what the building could look like based on how we told them we thought it should look.
So you're talking building out that way, making this parking lot?
Yeah, the grass out here would be the parking that would probably mainly be used by this building when it's used, but it could be overflow. And if we get a huge crowd here, they could park over there, so. Yeah, I think, And then there'll be a little bit of a plaza in the southeast corner there, like connecting to where the pickleball courts are, and some walkways around there. And then they'll also have an access to the park through these doors that are right over here that go out to the park. There'll be a wall there that separates we can't really have the library open when certain uses in this building are occurring. It's really needs to be closed off. There can't be joint use. So,
Question on page 28.
yes,
Says courthouse renovation scope, and then to the left of that, there's open space. Is that?
that's where we are right here.
Right. Is that is that where we're gonna stay? And then the front half's only gonna be for when court's happening?
No, that just shows that the courthouse renovation scope will be on the back half of this part of the building, and once we get the renovations done, this part of the building won't change.
Okay.
And like if you look back here where the doors or everybody comes in at, that's gonna change from those doors going south. We have a plan for an additional bathroom. We still have some bathroom needs in this building. And then we also have a need for defense attorneys to meet with their clients. So we're gonna create some cubby offices in the back, and then the entire rest of it is going to the library.
And then the 12.08 million, how much of urban renewal could be used for something like
None.
this?
This property is not within the urban renewal district.
Ugh. That's a bummer.
But I should also say this, there is no bond planned for this
Right.
new library.
Right.
Right.
I know I've heard a couple of rumors like that, and it's just not true. But we have good people here, and we'll put our heads together and figure out how to make it happen.
Questions, comments? I heard Lieutenant say we could use the police department when they're remodeling here. They have that nice
Yeah.
conference room.
Yeah,
He's not jumping up. At
he's
that.
not.
No, I tried. All right. Anybody else have anything? All right. Well, thank you for the update, sir.
You're welcome. Did you have anything to add to this? Okay.
You did a very good job of presenting it.
All right, moving on. We'll go to public comment. Citizens are allowed for up to 3 minutes to present information relevant to the city but not listed as an item on the agenda. Prior to speaking, citizens shall complete a comment form and deliver it to the city recorder. The city council does not generally engage in dialogue with those making comments but may refer the issue to the city manager. Complaints should first be addressed at the department level prior to addressing the city council. And Mr. Bryan, come on up.
Bring your thing.
If you could state your name and city you reside in, please.
Thank you, sir. I'm in the county, but my name is Brian Rick. I live off of Vaughn Road, just outside the city limits.
All right.
We're not gonna start your time until
Yeah.
council is ready. Apologies. Yes.
So that kind of answers one of my questions. I wasn't sure whether you guys may have already seen this information and had a chance to look it over, or if it was going to be done at this time. So, basically, this is the master plan project that I'm trying to get approved through the city council for. It's currently in the #1 location for the expansion from the urban growth boundary. It's currently also directly on the city line along with the growth boundary line. It's in very close proximity if you look on the first page to all of the city services. There's a 12-inch line currently on the corner. The Natural gas is about 1,000 feet away. The city lift station for the sewer is about 1,400 feet away. I'm in talks right now with PGE. I've got all the calculations done for the commercial space and all of the residential, and I'm currently turned it in and waiting for a meeting out on the site. I gotten the wetlands delineation is done. I think that's page 4. Other than the pond that's existing and a man-made ditch that can be culverted for the entryway, there doesn't seem to be anything that'll stand out. I have a problem with the LCD or any of the other services as far as that goes. The site's relatively level other than a couple of small spots, so that should keep the development costs down. The idea is obviously for affordable housing. I designed this by not my own idea moving forward, trying to put it into Molalla, but by dissecting you guys' Goal 14 analysis, your housing production strategy, your EOA, and coming up with something that fits the city and its expansion goals. So I've talked with a lot of people. I'm one of the board members on the CPO about the expansion itself, see what was needed, but I had meetings with Pat and the seniors over at the Foothill Church. Spoke with a couple of people. I had a meeting with Habitat for Humanity, Dan, which has also worked with you guys previously. He said he's willing to come in to the next city council meeting after you guys got familiar with it, talk with you, or any questions that you might have for him. He loves the project and is interested in making it happen. So. I tried to concentrate on making it affordable through other means than giving somebody something. Also in this, like, there's the ability to have multiple revenues, whether you're a young couple that would be interested in buying one of the 3-unit spots on a lot and renting 2 of them out, living in the smaller one to create their generational wealth, or a family that's got a grown adult child with a family that wants to move back in, and there's a place for grandmother and grandpa also. So I tried to make it pretty versatile. There's some ADUs involved. There's some multi-family, multi-generational floor plans. I kept the master suites on the bottom floor of most all the units. That way you can live in place. I made almost every model handicap accessible. There may need to be changed for the customer, but I also designated some specifically for handicap accessible to help with some of the shortages you guys have for seniors and people with disabilities here in the location in your HBS. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't need to take a bunch of time, but it kind of sink in. Those are for all y'all to have, and obviously if you have any other questions, I don't know exactly how it works. I've been working with Matt, and I've been working with Dan, and you know, I'd love to get some input.
Okay.
You know, especially when it comes to, you know, other groups that you guys have previously worked with or enjoy working with, that would help on the affordable side. That way we can make sure to give opportunity, but keep things affordable. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
That's what I got.
If council has questions, is now appropriate, or contact Mac, contact Brian directly?
Historically, your practice has not been to ask questions.
That's why I bring it up this way.
But I think if you do have questions, that's your call, though. It's a policy call on your part. You can always talk to Mac. I know that Mac and Mr. Zinder over here have worked with him quite a bit, talked to him a lot. I think they're well aware of it, and I think part of the issue is that there's somebody on the south end of our community who wants to come into the UGB. I think that's probably a big thing, because I think, you know, we've only had, until now, we've only had folks on the north end of the city who have voiced interest for the most part. Am I right, Mac?
I think I'm going to defer to Mr. Zinder. He's been, I think we've had a couple other folks on the south side
Have
that
we?
have expressed interest, but not to this degree.
Yeah, it's especially folks that are like right on the border with larger properties. We've had a couple of folks,
Okay.
like Mr. Avison, and then there's sort of two long properties right below his properties that, and they have some interest as well.
So my intent, just so you guys are aware, has been to send this package out to you guys, and then of course you can't really ask me questions on that. We could have conversations individually as long as they're not deliberate in nature, you know. But so that you guys could formulate your questions and bring them back to an open meeting where we can then answer them. Excuse me. It would be nice to see those ahead of time so that we can get you a good, you know, fully evolved response. But I figured I'd give you guys a chance to look it over. I know you're just getting it today because we had to kind of do it this way due to decorum, and get these into you, even though Brian brought these in about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So they needed to come to you guys today at the public meeting so that they'd be included in the package and all that good stuff. So.
Excellent. So we're going to refer questions to staff.
And then what we'll do is we won't answer those. You know, we may answer them individually to you, but we'll bring those. If there's questions and answers that come in, we'll either bring them in as Q&A or we'll wait until the open meeting. I'll have to confer with the city recorder and city manager on the best way to handle that, but we'll get you answers to your questions in the appropriate format, whatever that may look like.
Okay, go ahead.
This seems to me like the cart before the horse. This seems a different way that we're approaching a new project in town, unless I've lost my mind.
So this is Mr. Rurick just wanting to, as a citizen, bring in information to share with you. This isn't the city's approach to a project.
Okay.
Any project will happen the same way as every project happens. I think his intent, and I don't want to speak for Mr. Rurick, but I think I know, is that you guys would be aware when you're making decisions on your UGB expansion process, that there is in fact someone in the exception lands who has an evolved planned development. So that's really his prerogative,
Okay.
and not
Got it.
the city. And I wanted to make sure, that's actually a great question to draw that distinction.
And he already owns this property? Or is that still part of the?
I'm in the final stages of closing the due diligence on the 20-acre property that wraps around. And yes, we own the 12-acre space. There's 2 properties total
Right,
together.
I know it's 2 properties.
Yeah, which I was actually talking with him, with Dan, about the 12-acre piece originally, but with the lift station and that, he said to talk with the neighbors and see if there's maybe more land that way could be brought together as a larger space to handle the offsets for the services coming in for the city and everybody. And I've got the other space under contract. We close, we've already been approved for financing, everything's 100% done. I'm waiting for American On-Site to finish because obviously everything's a gamble, but in this case I have a plan 2, which is you can put up to 12 houses on it by doing an ADU and a house and dividing it because it's rural residential 5 within the county. I've already worked with the county, I already went down and talked with them. The only hiccup would have been whether or not I could put in the septic, which is currently being done in my due diligence by American On-Site. Okay. So they got the test wells dug on the property and all that kind of stuff. So, yes, I basically just wanted to let everybody know there are people that want to expand to the south.
Right.
It is a viable location. It is very, very close to the city services.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few things we got to work out with Sam, maybe on the sewer side as far as capacity testing does. But they didn't want me to move forward with that testing yet until we kind of had a better understanding of what was going to happen with the UGB growth. I'm more than willing to write the check today if we can get the capacity thing done. It's not a problem on my end. You know what I'm saying? I think he wants to make sure that it was accepted by everybody and y'all figured out what the system is to go forward.
Yeah.
Got it.
Your wife did not look excited about you writing that check.
She writes them, that's why.
Oh, gotcha, perfect.
Yeah,
Well,
love it.
This is a very nice presentation you brought to us, and I appreciate that.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yes.
And I really did try to design this to fit what Molalla needs. Like there's space for seniors, there's space for young people to be able to buy their entry-level home, there's a business opportunities there, there's lots of green space. It's gonna tie right into your master plan park passway through that's gonna go through hopefully in the near future that you guys have planned, that's the multi-purpose pathway that cuts through there by Bear Creek and goes out to the Molalla River corridor. So to me, from a developer standpoint, it's the best one location-wise for any expansion to the south. And the fact that there's a couple of neighbors pretty close, I think could make it a relatively good thing to have a small section from the south and the rest wherever it needs to be expanded, because that's what the numbers and the services play out as.
And the analysis that we're doing now with the DLCD grant is going to give a little more light on what exactly the capacity will be for southern expansion in the existing lines. So.
Great.
Perfect. All right, so any other questions, comments, email Matt. And he will get them sent out to where they need to go and get back to us and figure out an appropriate way of getting back to us with the city recorder.
Yes.
Thank you.
So don't
That's-
expect an answer
we-
very quickly.
Indeed, we do need to make this an agenda item.
Right.
So that our discussion will be when can we bring it to the next city council meeting, and of course invite Mr. Rarick so he will be able to be here. But and we have a scheduled agenda for this evening, and we should
Right. Move
stick
on.
to that.
Okay.
The one comment I would like to make is when it does come back as an agenda item, I'd like his full presentation on this. I know you skimmed over the top at about 10,000 feet on what's really on here.
Yeah,
When you guys look close and see food truck courts, farmers markets, it's all in that neighborhood. I think that presentation deserves a little bit more attention because it's almost its own city there. So, thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming in. Good to see you, ma'am.
you too.
All right, up next, ordinances and resolutions. Resolution number 2026-13, amending system development charges and fees for parks. Mr. Corthell, can we have a staff report, please?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, council. So if you guys will recall, we've had a work session and some discussions on park SDCs. Back in February of 2025, the city updated our new Parks and Trails Master Plan. Part of that plan, of course, included an updated capital improvement plan. And the policies and capital plan, I'm reiterating this, I think, for the community so they're aware of it. The policies and capital plan adopted by the city is on the conservative side in that it does not include extraneous pie-in-the-sky capital improvements that are unattainable, yet move the needle substantially for SDC fee purposes. So, for instance, if we put it in our capital plan that we wanted a new stadium in town, 50,000 seats, the SDC that was proposed would be like, $85,000 a unit, right? Or something insane. So anyways, we made sure that the things that are in that capital plan are things that we believe that we can attain, that the city can attain, that we can do. We also talked about level of service, not in terms of how are we serving people, but how many acres of parkland per person. And that was reduced to 7 from 10 per person, intentionally as part of your guys' policy decisions. One, because 10 is just a ton of land per person, and then you get into the maintenance issues and everything else, and actually being able to do capital construction and those sorts of things, because you're increasing that land supply by a solid 45%. And those costs increase with that, typically by more than the percentage increase in land. So anyhow, just a kind of a refresher and re-update on that. As a standard and best practice, SDC rates are updated to conform to the new capital plan when a public facility master plan like Parks and Trails is updated. Additionally, Mollalla's SDCs were artificially lowered by the council circa 2015 in order to offset the increased SDC associated with the new wastewater treatment plant project, with the goal to prevent chilling of development. The proposed increase puts park SDCs for Molalla at nearly the same rate that was recommended in 2015, so it's still fairly low, prior to artificially decreasing them. The new rate will take Molalla from the lowest in the region to the middle of the pack, but still closer to the low end by about $6,000. So we're still kind of that lower middle as far as this goes, which I believe is fair, and I hope you guys do too. So without further ado, I'll open it up if you guys have any questions or anything like that.
Questions, comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move the City of Molalla to adopt Resolution 2026-13, a resolution of the City of Molalla, Oregon amending system development charges and fees for parks.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? All right, Christie, we call the roll?
Certainly. Counselor Gilmer.
Aye.
Counselor Schenkel.
Aye.
Counselor Childress.
Aye.
Council President Vermillion.
Aye.
Counselor Bartholomew.
Aye.
Counselor Vicenius.
Aye.
Mayor Kaiser.
Aye.
Thank you. Vote passes 7-0.
All right, up next, HPS implementation and MHLD code updates. Mr. Zender, we're ready for your report.
All right, so I am, Planning Manager Dan Zinder to present 2026 HPS implementation and other required housing code updates. I expanded it a little bit from just MHLD. Basically, we brought this to the same staff report to Planning Commission a week ago, and we're looking to discuss some of the stuff that we have to do this year, and we're looking for council feedback as well. As you all know, we submitted or we adopted the housing production strategies back in February and submitted it to DLCD for review. While it's still in their hands for approval, the HPS implementation timeline waits for nobody. So there's stuff that we have to do this year, and we just wanted to bring it before you to show to let you know what we're going to do and maybe get some guidance on how to move forward with it. So the first of these items, I'm just going to go through each of them and then give a chance for feedback. And so it's these middle housing land divisions, and what these are, they're new state mandated lot division process for middle housing projects. So in the context of Molalla, because we were a middle-sized city, we only had to do the revise our code to allow duplexes as middle housing in each zone. The middle housing land divisions only have to apply to those, although they could apply to other types of middle housing triplexes and quadplexes as well if we wanted them to. So what we currently do, so we are currently code compliant with HB 2001, but we don't have this process implemented in our code yet. So if the city currently received an application for a middle housing land division, we'd have to process it in accordance with state law, but it wouldn't be in accordance with our code, so we need to update our code to match that. So state law, of course, requires that we do this process. Some of the highlights of the middle housing land divisions versus our typical attached unit, because we do allow attached units, townhomes in all of our zones. There's a faster timeline. There's a 21-day timeline for completeness versus 30-day, 63-day review period, 100-foot noticing, and also the lot is considered. These middle housing lots are considered in wholes. So the middle housing, the lot, the zoning designations and restrictions such as setbacks for the lot have to be consistent with code, even if after the partition they wouldn't necessarily be. So additionally, we would have to update our duplex definitions to include situations where two unattached units preside on a lot. Duplexes only currently refer to attached situations, but state law is also allowed detached duplexes as well, so we'd have to update our code for that. Our recommendation, so DLCD is putting out a model code for small cities. They just put out a draft this week. I've had a chance to take a bit of a look at it today, but not a comprehensive look at it, but it'll include a code compliant and it'll be final in September of 2026. Staff recommends reviewing the model code when it's available and making adjustments to it within the confines of state law as necessary to meet specific needs of Molalla. So that'll reduce us some time on writing code and what have you. So yeah, we're looking for feedback from council here, and specifically whether your council will be interested in including additional housing types to just what we're required to do by state law, such as triplexes, and quadplexes. Planning Commission's main feedback on this was they advised that we stick to duplexes, but otherwise agree on the process that we wait for the model code to come out and then go from there. So with this, I'll pause and open the discussion.
Questions, comments? Anybody need clarity?
So just so I make sure I'm understanding this correctly, so we're taking a residential lot, allowing a duplex, and allowing that to basically be subdivided under this? Is that what the gist of this is?
Correct. And there are scenarios where that could be allowed already as townhomes, provided that it beats building code. But yeah, this would sort of by law allow that situation happens, especially in situations, middle housing land, the middle housing duplex law allowed duplexes to be built on any parcel that a single family home could be built on. And so that would then, it could potentially create a situation where the lot sizes wouldn't meet for townhomes, but this would supersede that.
Thank you.
The one concern I have is the parking situation. Are we able to set the minimums for what is it able to be parked at if a property was subdivided?
You're jumping ahead to the next topic, but yes.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No worries. No worries. That's a great segue. I'll open it to more questions, but yeah, we'll get right to that.
Okay.
Question.
Go ahead.
I think it would be prudent to extend this to include triplexes and quadplexes. Because at the present, it's just two, and as we know, in the future, they're gonna look for more and more density in housing, because we're gonna continue to have housing problems. And so I think it might be good to take care of that now.
Yes, sir.
I would personally agree with the Planning Commission's decision or suggestion on the duplex and setting the code at that. I do have concerns with the parking, looking at subdivisions and challenges that are created currently with parking that we see all the time. Adding more units in these subdivisions would certainly create some pretty big challenges. So that was my point of view.
And can I add a point of clarification on the duplex and quadplex situation? That we wouldn't then be required to extend our zoning code so that it allows duplexes or quadplexes and triplexes in the R1, for example. It would basically create a situation where existing duplexes or triplexes and quadplexes could go through the middle housing land division process to create individual lots that could be sold severally.
And if you're confused, you're right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So I think this is prime for a much longer and more in-depth session on exactly what this does. The goal of this presentation is just to look forward at the work we need to do with all of you and as staff. So I also have a lot of questions on middle housing land division still, and I know that the state can't yet answer all of those. So I think the big takeaway here is that circa September 2026, we'll have a model code out that will allow us to have a more in-depth conversation with you guys about what this does and what the options are.
Okay.
I think is the long and short of it.
When you bring this back, can you bring this back at a work session?
Absolutely, we'll make sure we have it on for a longer discussion, because this is of all the 85 things that have come out in the last 4 years, this might be the most confusing.
Yeah. And with that said, I think the model code itself, just having perused it a little bit, actually having a code in front of you will probably make it a little clearer.
Yeah, it'll give us a basis from which to converse more over this, I think.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Mr. Zinder.
Alrighty, so issue 2, duplex parking. So this is new, state top-down. The HPS and state law requires that a medium city may not require more than a total of 2 off-street parking spaces for a duplex. So it does take it is going to take that minimum down to 2, and that's coming from the state. So by 2028, the city's adopted HPS commits to reducing off-street parking requirements that increase the cost of conversions of single-family homes to duplexes or similar housing type. What we currently do is we require 3 parking spaces minimum, which is out-of-state compliance. So again, that's part of the model code. There's a new model code for duplexes that includes parking standards. I was looking through it today and it didn't provide the clarity I'd hoped for, so we may just have to write something. So Molalla will be required to lower the minimum from 3 to 2. And then additionally, we need to be looking at our parking standards generally for single family and duplex situations so that it's sort of better defined what a parking space even is between a driveway and a garage to do that. So when we bring the duplex standards, we'll also be bringing code that addresses that piece.
Mr. Huff, Mr. Corthell, I'm just gonna be really honest. I don't like that. I don't like the fact the state is telling us we have to change our existing code. We are the elected body. We set those rules, and them coming and telling us, sorry, 3 spots, you gotta go to 2. I don't like that. First off, what are the ramifications if we don't change? And what can we do to maybe cause change? Because to me, that's not right. People before us have set these rules, and they set it for a reason. And if we start changing it to 2 cars, then it's gonna be 1 car. Next, we're gonna be Portland, and they have no parking. They literally build apartment buildings 6 stories tall and have absolutely no parking lots. And so I would really love to know your opinion and possibly Chad's opinion on saying no. Because at some point, we need to start saying no. Because these changes they're forcing us to do is getting a little bit ridiculous.
Doesn't the statute have provisions, if we don't meet the requirements, then X?
I believe what happens is that's one of those situations where HAPO may come take over your planning department. I'm not positive, but I think that's one of them. Is that your read on it too?
That's a high-end potential outcome.
Yeah, I think the other thing, and as far as how do we push back, I'm not exactly sure on that. I mean, it's written in OAR, so I that would be a better question for Chad, I think, or Dan. But the other thing I think this is going to result in is that when we do our TSP, we're going to have to change our street standards so that we can fit vehicles on both sides of the road. So that means every developer is going to have to give up 12 more feet of land on the frontage of their property. So I don't know that this actually benefits housing if you're actually planning to have cars parked on the side of the road, because you got to have a road that's potentially 24 feet wider than you would have. And that land comes from somewhere.
Well, and the other thing is too, is that's good for new development. We got a lot of old development, and if we take down one, for example, the house I live in now, if my landlord decides to sell, there's only so much road space already there. She's not going to be told to have to widen it out before it gets there, before all these cars start parking on it.
Yeah, I think the other thing is we can argue or talk about the loss of home rule, okay, which is what you're talking about with your statement, Mayor. And it's been going on for a long time. And as you know, the League of Oregon Cities is trying to focus on some governance issues with not only DLCD, which, as you know, Mr. Zinder and Mr. Corthell have raised on a number of occasions. They've allowed some of their personal opinions and professional, really, opinions about that come out. And there is a little bit of overreach by DLCD, you know, when it comes to the statute and what the administrative rules say. And some of those arguments are still happening. You know, I also think that DLCD looks at things as the same everywhere. And in our case, we still have a lot. We have, not still, we've had a number of commuter, we have a lot of commuter traffic that comes in and out of our community. So, and we don't have great bus service, and not everybody's going to want to get on the bus and all those kinds of things. And those things are never really considered here. It's only considered that if you require 3 spaces instead of 2, you're going to price that unit out of someone being able to afford it. I mean, that's as simple as it is. How can we create things where the city has to allow certain standards to be met or not met that increases affordability? And it's a theory. It's like cluster housing, you know, it's not a new thing. I've whined about this with Mac and Dan on a number of occasions, that was heavy and around back in the 90s, you know, and I'm the only one around here who can remember that, so.
Well, they want to say they're trying to get more production and for the builder, but yet, as Mac put it, the builder's going to be losing 12 feet.
Right.
Plus, depending on where they build in the city, the system development that's going to need to take place for the added population coming in, that's going to eat them up. So to me, it seems like, oh, we're going to give them a discount on the city's expense.
Here's the way I actually look at this. I don't like it any, and I believe Mac and Dan don't either. It's work they have to do that they could be spending on things that were actually productive for this community rather than this. Okay, I mean that's clear. But I also think that some of the rules that are made at the state level have consequences that the state doesn't think about because they don't do the work that Dan and Mac do. Okay, they don't do that work, so they don't recognize it. And I think some of this may come out with the model code. I think I'm being positive here because I think some of it may be fleshed out in the model code. And I also think that when they come in to develop, there's certain things that Dan and Mac are going to look at that they just have to do. And even if they only have to put in 2 spaces rather than 3, these other things may take care of some of those issues. Because that's not in the statute. They can't really tell you how to administer the water system or the sewer system or any of those things.
Or the fact that, let's say if you go to remodel from a single family to a duplex, that we can now require you to widen the road appropriately.
Yes, you can.
And the cost goes way up.
So it may be more difficult, but it may just kind of be a wash too.
They may actually be producing more costs. I mean, ultimately, I know that's probably, but
Yeah.
really, because the improvement has to be proportional to the impact of the development. If the development doesn't have to have parking spaces, then you need to have on-street parking for it. Now we have to widen the road. So that's
Right.
a direct impact of the development, because where are you gonna park? If you live on Highway 211, where are you gonna park your car
Right.
if you
So-
don't have a parking space?
The other thing
For
is,
instance.
Mayor, you heard Mac make a presentation on public utilities and, you know, coming into an older section of town, adding all these units in an area that can't handle the impact from water, sewer, storm drainage, and all those other things. That's a perfect example of what the state of Oregon doesn't think about. It's like, yeah, you can turn this, abandon a office building into a 10-unit apartment, right? And not change the zone, but we can't serve it because the lines aren't big enough. That's not in there.
Right.
Okay, so that's probably gonna keep that from occurring, because that cost is much more than one parking space. You know what I mean?
Right.
The cost of new construction there and putting one space in versus, or putting 3 spaces in versus 2, compared to the cost of expanding a sewer line and a water line, dedicating land and widening a street. That one space is probably cheaper. Way cheaper.
I feel like, with all due respect, I think it sounds like we're robbing Peter to pay Paul over a point. And I honestly, I'd really like to know Chad's opinion on saying no to this. Because there comes a point, it started with the UGB.
Yeah.
When somebody wanted to come into the UGB, we all had to say yes, or we get in trouble.
Yeah.
Now it's parking. We're having to change our rules, our laws, because the state says so.
Right.
And it comes to a point where, when does it all stop?
A recommendation would be that I think that's a higher argument than what we're gonna do here with our code. And we're only one community. We're not the only community who's making the same arguments, though. Saying no and just recognizing that there's probably other ways that we can get through this may be cheaper than saying no. And I don't know, do you know the answer to that, Mac?
Well, I mean, ultimately, if we say no and anyone has a mind to do so, they're gonna appeal us to LUBA and they're gonna win, and then we're gonna have an order to comply.
Right.
With this, because we don't have to have it in our code. We already technically have to comply with everything that's in state law. So yeah, that's what would ultimately happen, and it's just a question of, yeah, I mean, the law's the law, and I think the idea would be that you'd either have to get it overturned somehow, or comply with it, because eventually, you'll be either forced to comply with it by LUBA, which is a court. Or, at that point, I don't know what they do. If you say no to LUBA, I'm not really sure. I don't think anyone does that, but I think
and I think the legal opinion you're gonna get from our city attorney would be, well, if you look at the statute and the administrative rules, the state's telling you what's gonna happen if you don't comply. And he's just gonna repeat that. But you are on the OMA board, and that may be a place where this argument should start to force LOC to look at those, which is already starting in some other areas.
Which I'm sure, being past president of OCCMA, you probably have a few contacts with some city managers that might know of this issue arising in their cities too.
Yeah, because city managers are magical, right?
Right.
Yep.
All right.
That was fun. Anything else, Mr. Zinder?
This is your floor.
All right. Bring good news next time.
Shall we move on to
Yes.
ADUs?
Oh, more.
But wait, there's more. Yeah.
Oh.
I have more. Yeah. So code revisions for accessory dwelling units, ADUs. So what we currently do, we currently regulate ADUs through our special use standards. ADUs can be attached to the main unit. The maximum size for ADUs in our current code is 800 square feet or 40% of the dwelling size, the smaller of the two, and that doesn't include a garage if it has one. And then the height cannot exceed the primary dwelling. And SDCs for ADUs include an equivalent dwelling charge, unit charge for transportation SDCs, the same as a house, as well as a parks charge. Utility SDCs are based on whether this unit has its own meter associated with it for sewer and water, and added footprint for stormwater calculations. The HPS advises that we look at making ADU standards less restrictive and also evaluate SDC rates to make ADU a relatively cheaper dwelling unit to construct. Staff recommends that we do reduce the transportation SDC fees to relatively a half. So we work on an ordinance to do that. Reasoning being these are usually smaller units, have a smaller impact generally. So that was our recommendation. They're usually, and additionally, to remove the 40% limitation on dwelling size for ADUs, we have some relatively small houses in town. If you have an 800 square foot house and their max on an ADU would be 40% of that, you're talking about a 360 max square foot unit. We thought that might be a little small. And then in concert with the state, with the required detached duplex standards, this would sort of create a two-tiered system for having 2 units on a property. So you could build 2 units on a property for duplexes of any size. If you build a larger unit, it would be charged full freight for SDCs. If you build the sort of smaller ADU unit, you'd get a discount. So, Planning Commission's recommendation was to consider actually raising the max from 800 square foot. I think 900 was recommended, and they agreed that we should be getting rid of that 40% minimum and just make it a maximum size. And so actually model code included that as well, and model code had max size for ADUs at 1,000 square feet. So that's sort of the direction that they're going as well. And with that, I turn over to council discussion.
One question on ADUs, since they're an addition to the property, and not beating a dead horse here, but
Yeah.
would that be an additional parking spot? Is that just a thought? If you have a house and we're going to be going to 2 spots, we're adding an ADU. Would there be a requirement for another parking spot for who lives in that ADU?
I was thinking that there would be before I read the model code today, and I have to read the model code. It may be another place where they're prescribing how much parking can be there, and we can bring that back in work session.
Okay.
But that was never our idea to not require parking for it.
Okay.
So
It's a good question.
In general, this is one of the ones that actually makes a lot of sense to me. It allows people to use their property to make some money or put their mother-in-law on there, and it doesn't charge them as if they were building an entire house on the property when they're building a 900, 800 square foot structure. Yeah, they still pay an SDC, but it's prorated to match the development instead of charging people the same price, 3,500 square foot house or 800 foot, ADU. So this is one of the ones that actually makes sense because I think it allows people to make a little bit more money on their property. And like all the things that Mr. Rurick kind of pointed out that you could use an ADU for on your property, whether it's you've got an older kid living at home or a mother-in-law's quarters or you want to rent it out to someone and make some loot, So this is one of the ones that I think, in my opinion, makes a ton of sense just in general in a vacuum.
and notably, it came from us.
And I've always just wondered whatever happened to the father-in-law. It's always a mother-in-law unit, and what happened to the father-in-law?
I don't know, I guess the guys die first.
I think that's true.
The other thing, if we're looking at rules on some of this, can we also keep in mind that when these go up, we might have to strengthen up I know there's rules and everything set. I don't know how strong ours are with Airbnbs, because I could see a lot of people putting them on the Airbnb market, and that's going to be bringing a lot into town. So we might be looking at strengthening up those rules. I know we have a few in our city, not enough to really cause a lot of change or do a lot right now, but looking at Mr. Rurick's property, there's a possibility for a lot of ADUs there, and if properties start building with the plan of ADUs, I mean, within a few years, we could end up with another 20 of them here in our city.
That is part of the HPS, and it's later on the timeline. But yeah, we will be looking at looking at your short-term rentals and likely requiring fees for them, and then enforcement on ones that don't go through a process to become short-term rentals.
Okay,
When he says fees, I think he's referring to transient lodging tax.
okay. Perfect.
TLT.
Anything else, sir?
Well, any other? Yeah, but wait, there's more. Any other thoughts on ADUs before I move on? All right. So the next thing from the HPS is flexible regulatory concessions for affordable, accessible housing. So this approach would increase affordability and accessibility by removing regulatory barriers to incentivize private developers to build affordable and accessible units. Examples could include reducing or relaxing parking requirements, design standards, or landscaping requirements for these projects. What we currently do, so our current code, and you may remember this from the project out on Oregon 211, allows developers to submit as part of their transportation impact study a parking study or a parking demand analysis with it that sort of sets that can set a lower threshold for parking. So we currently do allow that to happen through the transportation impact analysis. And then the HPS is requiring that we reach out to the development community to explore what sort of regulatory standards would make the most impact. Our recommendation is, to do just that. We also recommend to avoid concessions on infrastructure, aside from those available through available funding such as side grants, enterprise zoning, and similar funding sources. So basically, not conceding on infrastructure, which interestingly enough is, if you attend some of these meetings that DLCD holds, even people from the development or community are kind of saying, well, it's not really the parking that's causing the major cost. It is the infrastructure that's the cost, and there needs to be some sort of assistance available on that. But we'll see what our developers say aside from that, and otherwise turn it over to thoughts from council.
Anybody? The one thing I think would be nice to see is if there was a way to control the secondary sales of the house on the price. A lot of times my biggest fears is people are gonna get into a home and it's gonna be discounted, it's gonna be affordable, and 2 years down the road, it goes back to market value and they walk away with this huge investment, and it takes that whole house out of that market for being affordable. This isn't that brand new stock that somebody just found out about and gets in on a great price and turns and sells it 2 years down the road and profits on. This is, to me, it's something that needs to last a little bit longer than the first few sales of the property. And I don't know if there's find a way to control those housing prices after they've been, after the house has been purchased.
Where was that when we were doing the HPS? I love it. No, I like that a lot. I think that's
be
important to
great.
make sure that they're
Doesn't happen.
they're selling what they what they claim to be selling. Absolutely. So well taken. Written down.
Anything else for us tonight, sir?
Yes, but wait, there's more.
Scroll down.
I'm almost done.
Oh, yeah.
This is the last
Oh,
one.
yeah.
This is the last one.
Next
So
page.
Look and see.
the last one we may be looking at this year is, and I say may because there's a 2027 requirement, but they're putting out model code for it, so we may just bring it this year as well. So cottage cluster development is for cottage cluster, and they typically describe a group of detached units on a single lot that are typically smaller than or equal to 1,000 feet or less. They're typically owned by the occupants, and the land is commonly owned, and they will have shared amenities such as parking, green space, recreation and community space. And these units provide a smaller, more affordable option than single-family home. They provide ownership opportunities and are intended to foster community within the development. Our code currently allows cottage cluster development in all residential zones, but we have no standards for them. There is state law that requires cottage cluster standards developed by 2027. And there's a model code for it. So again, model code came out today. They're calling for being a little bigger than I've seen for cottage clusters typically, like having an average size of about 1,400 square feet, max of about 10 per lot. So I'm not sure the extent that we'll be able to tinker with those standards. But I kind of, I made that face as well.
That's an odd
Those are houses.
It's almost too big for that that's too big of a stamp for that big a land.
That I made the same face. I was like, that's a house.
Right.
But there's, staying on single story, but still pretty substantial size. So I want to, I think we need to look into, how flexible that portion of the standard is, because I would expect a smaller footprint.
Well,
as
it needs to be bigger. I think it needs to be bigger than an ADU, but
Yeah.
you hit 1,500 square feet. My house is pretty close to that size.
That could be a 4-bedroom.
Yeah, yeah, good. Well, the requirements in ours was like 1,500 or something, or 1,200.
I won't bore you with my thoughts on this.
Keeping them single family only makes single level only makes the footprint bigger too.
Yes, it
That's
does.
right.
This makes more sense to make them
not going on a
2-story.
Small lot by any stretch.
And there's more.
All right.
Okay,
And there's
move on.
more.
And then, then the last are just our administrative projects that we'll be working on this year, which is the piece for addressing unmaintained zombie housing. Like basically what we'll do is, talk with our code enforcement division. We just brought on our new enforcement officer, and develop an inventory list to the extent that these properties come up, that we can share with developers of affordable housing, such as Habitat for Humanities. Next piece is the Urban Renewal Area Public Improvement Assessment. Basically, the city's recently developed sidewalk grant is a piece of that, and urban renewal funding programs. So those are already really in place. Of course, later on in the HPA schedule, we'll be looking at short-term rentals program, developing that. But that's another potential funding source that we'll be looking at. Collaborations with Clackamas County are starting, including a community development block grant program, and matching funds for weatherization programs. So we'll be, coordinating with them, including their information on our department library, which is the next piece, and looking for potential grant opportunities for homeowners. And then the last is that affordable library, where we'll put the county's programs, how to apply for that, federal programs and state options for getting housing, and put that on our website. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing the rest of the year, to meet our HPS requirements and stuff coming down from above. So open for any other questions, or we can move to the next one.
And as Mr. Zinder would say, and we dance.
Now we dance. Cheers.
Thank you, sir, for that intriguing report.
Thanks for feedback, Mayor and Council.
Yes, thank you.
Molalla Police Department post-evaluation, Mr. Huff.
Well, Lieutenant Call is with us tonight,
I see that.
and I'm sure he's glad to be here.
He's been intrigued the whole evening. I think.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. So, if you begin on page 67, there's a staff report, and then the most important part of this is the post-project CMGC report, which is part of what we need to do when we go through that process. And I just wanted to say, when you do a project like the police department, it seems like, hey, we moved in, right? in December, but we weren't done with every little nook and
Right.
cranny that needed to happen. But the police department moved in. They were operating out of that building. They had moved out of City Hall, and it was a good thing, even though some stuff had been delayed on delivery and certain things. And I think, we have everything, right? Or almost.
Almost.
Yeah, we're still waiting for some things to be delivered. Some of them have been delivered 5 or 6 times, and each time they get delivered, it doesn't work. So
Oh, boy.
there is a little bit of that still. So I think if I remember right, when we were going through after the bond had passed to build the new police station, Mayor Kaiser said 2 things that he told the community that I wanted to remind everybody of. And it was, this project is going to be done on time, and it was going to be under budget, which was a little scary for a public project to be done on time and under budget is kind of a rare thing. But as you see in my staff report and in the CMGC report, the project was done on time. I mean, we had an occupancy permit, which is what our contract with PNC Construction required. We were operating, we were using the building. So we were done on time, and we had to wait for a little while to determine whether or not and how much we would be under budget. And we were, and that's a good thing. And let's see, where's that? And we were $1,015,883 under budget.
Fantastic.
Good
So
job.
we could do
fabulous.
that, and I will tell you, and if you read the report, I'm not going to read everything in the report because it's a little tedious, but some of it seems like it repeats itself a little bit. But there's a couple of things I'll go through that I want to highlight for you. But that was a group effort, not only from the architects, but also the contractor was very helpful in that area, and as well as staff. And we need to do a better job of picking out a stove that works. But
That's the final item. Everything in that project.
so, but I think the most important thing for you all to know and for the community to know is that I think they all knew we were on time because we moved in when we said we would. I know we called it a Christmas present when we for everybody, and I think our police department is ecstatic, and Lieutenant Call can talk about that a little bit when I'm done talking about this. But the big thing is that we were under budget, and that I think that's a rare thing for public projects today. So and significantly. So if you go through the CMGC report, basically we said that when you all adopted the process before we decided to go through this process, it was a process we were going to use because it allowed us to work with the architect and the contractor more freely, and it would save cost and allow us to meet timelines in a better place. We allowed early procurement and some of that stuff. And when we started this project, as you all remember, we were just coming out of COVID. And we didn't know what those procurement processes would give us. And we didn't have too many problems. A couple of small things that were like amazingly long to get, but for the most part it worked out okay. And the contractor, we split the project up a little bit. We demoed the bowling alley, as you know, and then we sat and waited until the bond passed. And
The bowling alley's gone.
yeah, what are your kids? Oh, now what are the kids are still gonna do? Yeah, okay, I get it. So if you look on page 2 or 69, which is the second page of the report, there, the savings we incurred was really a change order. That, as you look at it in technical language, it was a change order that they gave that money back to us. Okay, so that's where it talks about that. And then on I talked about the early procurement. There's a discussion on that on page 76. So they could get started early. We worked with them whenever we could in areas like that. And at the end, one of the other things I will say is our project manager, Joshua Dodson. During the middle of this project, I was getting 4 or 5 emails a day from Joshua. Some of them I was wondering why I was getting. I don't know if you remember those days. And but he was on it, and there wasn't anything that we didn't know what was going on. You know, because like, hey, what are we doing? Why are we doing that? When did we approve that? I mean, there was all kinds of opportunities for us to jump in. And I do remember one day in particular where we were looking at the sealer they were putting on the concrete. I don't know if you were there that day. Mm-hmm. And the chief and I are looking down. We were in his, soon to be his office, looking at the concrete of 2 different kinds of sealer that were going on the concrete. One was general cost, and we're gonna have carpet on top of it as well. And the other one was like twice as much, the cost. We couldn't see the difference.
Right.
So we were constantly being afforded the opportunity to say, yeah, go with the cheap one. So hopefully that works out in the long run.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a good project. I think our contractor and our architect worked well with everybody. I think at the end of it, we still like them, which is always questionable when you have projects like that. Do you have anything to add, Lieutenant?
Not really, just to reiterate, the project I think went really well, and the teamwork, cooperation between architects, contractors, our staff, and project manager. I think communication was top notch.
And you guys are happy?
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, they better be.
They better be, I know.
So, question that I'm sure a negative Nancy will bring up on Facebook first thing tomorrow is this $1 million in savings.
Because
Where does it go? Did it come out of, I know we were dealing with urban renewal. Does
Yeah.
it go back to that, or is it going back to the bond amount?
It goes, the savings goes back into urban renewal. Okay? So what it is it's savings that we now can realize, and you'll see some of that next week when we go back into our budget process, where we can now use those funds to, elsewhere in the urban renewal district for infrastructure improvements and to, because we kind of put a hold on urban renewal for a couple of years while we went through the police department, but that doesn't go back into the bond, where it reduces the amount of money. That's going to be there, but it is a savings in reality. I know some people won't see it that way, but it is a savings, and we can use those funds elsewhere. So, does that make sense to everybody? Okay.
Does to me.
Okay.
Hopefully, it gives us a leadway
Well,
when we get asked about it.
And I will tell you that if you go back and you look at the things that the city did say at the time, we didn't say that we would reduce the amount of their payment in the bond. I think we always did say, and we can go back and find it if we need to.
You've told us
Right.
several times it would go back in the urban renewal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really money not spent
Right.
from urban renewal on the police department is
Yeah.
really
Right.
the thing, so. Okay.
Questions, comments? I have further comments, but I'll wait till the last few minutes of the meeting to.
Okay.
All right, up next, charter update, Mr. Huff.
Actually, we're gonna have Counselor Vicinius make that update.
I was voluntold that I get to discuss this. So a lot of the council, Mr. Corthell, we attended the LOC conference, and we all went to a very informative session regarding charters, which created light bulbs for all of us that we were trying to do a lot in a short amount of time, and it was going to add a lot of complexity. We weren't going to get the engagement we needed, so we needed to take a step back, create a plan and some fancy charts that are going to outline what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, create some prioritizations, and then have an actual plan to move forward with. So we've kind of taken a step back. We're going to gather the troops, get a game plan put in play, and then move forward a little more intentionally, is my summary of what we discussed. So.
Perfect. All I gotta say is, I bet the city recorder is very, very thankful for this.
The timing is good.
Any questions or comments? All right. November general election announcement. City Recorder Teets, we're ready for your report.
All right, Mayor and Council, thank you. I am in a little bit of denial that it's the middle of May. Here we are, which means June 3rd, our elections process for November opens. So as your elections officer, it's my duty to make a public statement that the November 3rd, 2026 general election ballot will feature 3 city council positions. City of Molalla announces city council positions that will expire December 31, 2026. Council members with expiring terms are Councilor Leota Childress, 2-term Councilor, Councilor Terry Schenkel, 2-term Councilor, and Councilor Casey Bicenius, who joined us as an appointed councilor after the resignation of elected Councilor Raylan Botsford. Candidacy may be declared by any city resident who is a qualified elector, that means you're a registered voter, and that you are a 12-month resident prior to the election. If you're interested, please schedule an appointment with me to pick up a candidate packet and between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. And all of my contact information is available on the website, but I cannot start receiving candidate filings until after June 3rd. That is when the state opening for elections begins.
Excellent,
That's what
thank
I've
you.
got. Thank you.
All right, up next, staff communications. Lieutenant Cole, you got anything for us tonight?
Not a lot. We just retired one of our officers. We're currently have open positions for him and upcoming retirees, and our latest recruit is out on the road right now, so we're plugging away.
Excellent, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
How's the puppy dog?
That's
Good. Yeah, we're looking for training for him, and but they have very good, very high expectations when he's ready to hit the road.
Good to hear. Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Mayor Kaiser,
Yes, ma'am.
pardon the interruption. Before we continue with staff and council communication, I failed to acknowledge Ms. Sharpenny had public comment to present to council this evening,
Okay.
and I failed to acknowledge her during public comment time, and I was hoping that we could take a moment to do that now.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hey, Shar, would you like to come up and give public comment?
Okay.
I have your printout, Ms. Shar, if you need your notes.
I changed it because we had to move the date.
You got it.
Yes.
State your name and city you reside in, please.
Penny Molalla.
Perfect.
I just wanted to make an announcement that David and I are going to be up at Safeway again, collecting signatures for the 4 referendums as well as the paddle one. So people who have not signed, or if you've signed the 4 but not the paddle one, please come sign the paddle one. So far, we've collected over 1,000 signatures for the 4 referendums. And so we originally had it on the page, we were doing it Friday with the grandson, scheduled surgery,
in Portland on Friday, so we have to take them over to Portland. And so we moved it to Saturday. We'll be there from 10 to 2.
Okay.
Safeway. So this is for the millions of people that watch this.
There you go.
I want to see everybody come in and sign these.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Potts, for what you're doing too.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, no problem. Mr. Zender, you got anything for us tonight?
I've spoken as much as I'd like to, thank you.
All right. Got anything else for us tonight, Christie?
I have no report, Mayor.
All right.
Thank you.
Mac?
Just a couple of items. So the Wildfire Ready event was held on the 9th at the police community room, put on by PGE, and I understand there were several other agencies there, including our own fire department. Landon Sheckard kind of handled coordinating that for the city and did a great job. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Landon for all of his hard work and effort getting that pushed through and helping to support PGE and their efforts to keep the community wildfire safe. So that's a big one. And then coming up on the 19th, that is next Tuesday, there is a stormwater master plan open house where our consultant, Keller Engineering, will be attending and providing a presentation, and it'll be an opportunity for folks to ask questions or provide comments on the stormwater master plan, the stormwater system in general. Have some light finger foods there as well as just water. And so that'll be from 5:30 to 7 right here in the Civic Center on May 19th. And we've put that out on the newsletter and in our socials and all of that good stuff too. So I just wanted to reiterate that here, that's going to be going on. That's all I've got.
All right. Mr. Huff?
Just one thing, I thought Mac might bring this up, but he's not old enough. May 18th. Does anybody remember what the significance of May 18th is?
Mount St. Helens.
There you go. Well, it might feel like that in town because the paving contractor will be back in town on 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. Did I get those two right?
They're going to start with 5th. They're going to do 5th and Swigel the week of the 25th because there was some conflicts with the district track meet. So we were able to get in touch with them in time and coordinate to get them to come out and do those streets the following week. So yeah, they'll be doing 2nd, 3rd, and 3rd, I think.
2nd and 3rd?
Substantially.
Okay. And the school district does start working on their street improvements on the same day. So.
Angle too. I think
Okay.
2nd, 3rd, and
Angle?
Angle.
Okay. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that. And then, as some of you know, we are in the midst of hiring some folks to replace some folks that have left. And I just want to tell you that we continue to draw really good people to apply for our positions. So it's a good thing going forward. That's really all I have.
Okay.
For today.
I want to go back to Mr. Corthell because he actually did forget something else. Would you like to discuss what you got in Pendleton?
Oh, I mean, we the city, won the Good Governance Award for Mid-Sized Cities at the League of Oregon Cities Conference a couple weeks ago. And for the Molalla Current Communications and Public Engagement Platform. Very honored that that's award-winning now, and I want to thank everyone for all their hard work and for everyone for promoting it and continuing to believe in it. And we'll continue to get people engaged there and hopefully grow the following so we can provide more information and be more transparent.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I know, it would have been cool to have it. It would have been nice to have it here tonight.
We should
I
have.
forgot about it.
Well, we had a couple of things.
Yeah, you're busy.
Christie's been fired 5 or 6 times over the last 2 weeks, and so, it's been a little problem.
Well, and after I gave it to Dan, no one knows where it went from there. I think it's on his mantle.
I have a recall.
Didn't you know? City managers are magical.
Yeah. So if you look in the back of the room on the left, Mayor Kaiser, you'll see the. There you go. You can look at it after we're done.
Oh,
I meant to
excellent.
bring that up.
Finish
So
your statement.
Thank you.
what?
You just said,
Oh, It's a list of all the mayors of Molalla
And counselors.
and councilors
Oh, that's
going
over here.
backwards.
The history got updated.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Max Crew hung them.
Thank you so much.
And took down the clock.
From 1913 to
Yes,
present.
Yeah.
to today.
Wow.
So, there you go.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Councilor Bissenius.
Because so many of us attended the LOC, I will stick with what I mentioned earlier. The charter segment I found to be very educational as well as some others, but I want to let everybody share the wealth of the LOC. But it was a wonderful conference. I appreciated being able to attend and spend time with everybody here. So thank you, and we definitely brought some tools home as we already discussed. So that's all I have for tonight, sir.
Thank you. Councilor Gilmer.
Same as Councilor Bethanius, it was a good time to be at the LLC. I had a good time engaging with the rest of the councilors. Got to sit in a lot of meetings and learn about some stuff that's coming down the pipe.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Councilor Bartholomew.
Yes, I got something, Mayor. I just wanted to do a public announcement that we have a big event coming up in June, the Molalla River Summer Jam, which is going on June 13th at 1 p.m. at the Molalla River Brewing Company, and this year's event is for a good cause. We have a retired law enforcement officer, Frank Schoenfeld, otherwise known as a Spectre, who unfortunately got in a motorcycle accident in January, and the proceedings of this event are going to be going to help out with hospital bills and recovery. So being that I have a personal deep appreciation for law enforcement, I would like to invite the whole community to this event and this noble cause, and I really think this is going to be big.
Perfect.
That's it.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Schenkel.
Are you gonna do the
I got the
garbage
number.
thing? Okay, well then I'll let you do that. Okay, so, the Chamber of Commerce, I just wanted to bring up, they have their May networking meeting, actually tomorrow morning. This is their AM meeting from 8 to 9 a.m. It'll be at the US Bank. And then they have an after-hours chamber thing, which is actually going to be several chambers coming together. And this is Tuesday, the 19th. It's a 6 p.m. to 7:30 at the Aurora Vineyards. If anybody is interested in going, it's $5 for chamber members, $10 for non-members and guests. And I just want to remind you guys to get those applications in for the Molalla Parade, which is on the 4th of July. In the, I was trying to think of, the theme this year is Cheers to 250 Years. So if you want to be, if you're interested in being a sponsor, contact the Chamber of Commerce, but again, register your floats and groups and whatever you can come up with, your cars, whatever you want, your log trucks, your horses, for our great parade. And that's it.
Thank you. Councilor Childress.
Okay, I'm gonna give you some numbers about the Molalla Spring Cleanup that gets bigger every year.
Yeah, Leota and I were knee-deep in garbage while they were at the LLOs.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, on Facebook, the guys had a picture of themselves. They posted a picture of the guys. And so somebody says, well, where are the girls? Well, if they're home doing the garbage work.
Max said it. Max said it, not us.
They're doing the real work.
That's fun.
No, we had beautiful weather for
We
it.
did.
Thank goodness
Fantastic
for that.
weather.
But on Friday, we're open from 8 to 4, so 8 hours. And on Friday, we ran through 416 loads, which is 52 an hour. Wait, your eyes are going to pop out of your head on this next one. On Saturday, 720 loads, 90 an hour.
That's the biggest we've had so far.
Biggest
Wow.
ever.
Yeah.
That's an incredible
And
turnout.
we didn't have very many volunteers, but we had some hard workers. There's no way we could have processed 90 cars an hour if we hadn't had the high school students from the,
So the
It wasn't
Key
the Key
Club?
Club.
yes, Key Club.
Was it Key Club?
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank
Key
you.
Club?
They worked very hard. They were out there helping people offload that trash,
And
you know.
our mother and son combo that
And
were
we
there in
had,
the morning.
yes, a mother and son combo who've been volunteering for about 4 years now. They were there that morning. So, so next year, I'm gonna write to the LOC and make sure that the conference is not the weekend of the cleanup. Fair warning, guys, Carrie and I will still be doing this, so we're gonna hold you, hold you down. But it's a lot of fun out there. It really is. It's working, and we had goodwill there. They had to close their doors early because they absolutely filled up the truck. They could not have squeezed another thing in there. The police were out there, you know. I don't think they got very much business this year, sadly, but you never know. They were there nonetheless, and that was good. And we're also working on developing, oh, I haven't told you this yet, Dan. We're gonna,
Surprise.
we're gonna work on developing a new drive-through strategy, because the lines get too long out on the street too often, especially on Saturday. It was just miserable. And so we're gonna do some updating on that. We were all in agreement, even B&B leasing on that. They were real concerned, so. Okay, and I know that people have noticed that we don't have banners up on our utility poles anymore. But I want you to know that we're working on getting banners on the light poles that are on Molalla Avenue. And that is, it's been a little bit of a slow process because those poles actually belong to PGE. So you got all this, okay, will this work? No, well, will this wouldn't work, you know. But we're meeting this week with Adam Schultz from our Public Works Department to do a little looking at, we know some fixtures, they got some fixtures that are gonna work, but now we're working on sizing. And we will have banners up by the middle of June, roughly. Yes?
Can I add to that? I was gonna give Adam a shout out later once they were up, but since we're bringing it up, I wanna give him a shout out. The banner holders that we bid from multiple organizations, came back at $57,000.
No.
$57,000. So Adam and his crew got together and said, hey, I think we have some things that we can piece together from the old holders, and we'll have to retrofit some things and customize a couple of things. So when you see what he's proposing, it is a banner holder. They've just taken what was there and retrofitted it and put some effort into it, and are going to end up, if everything works out well, I'm crossing my fingers, end up saving the city $57,000 in banner holders. They may have to spend, $1,000 to get some of the parts and pieces that they need, but it'll be over $50,000 savings. And I was going to wait to kind of give Adam a shout out once those things were hung up, but I'll give it to him now.
And that was holders for about 32 light poles. Let that one sink in. Nearly $2,000 a pole.
That's ridiculous.
It's
I know.
about 1,000 per holder, and you need 2 per pole, one on the bottom, one on the top. I had the exact same reaction. I must have read that quote those quotes about 15 times to make sure I wasn't missing something.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong business, I'll tell you
Wow.
that.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. And I will say something about our public works in general, Adam and the rest of them. They look for ways to do things and do it right. They look for ways.
They do.
Not all employees would care whether they save their boss any money or not, but our guys do, our people do, and in all of our staff, and I so appreciate that. Okay,
and they are, just a plug, they are always so willing to come and help us on our little ideas we come up with, and they're just great. I mean, Saturday morning, is it Jessica?
No.
Jamie had to bring us out some boards that we needed for the enter and exit thing, and then later on they came down and they were helping with something else. I mean, they are great people, and I'm so thankful that I live in the city and I get to work with these great people. So we're very lucky.
And one other thing that hasn't been mentioned tonight is that our budget books are here for us to pick up. Okay.
Oh, good.
Please
Thank
don't
you.
leave without them.
Yeah,
Yes,
don't
thank you,
leave without
yes.
those.
You don't want them to have to be delivered.
No,
No.
that's a whole fiasco that none of you should experience.
Of course, used to the cops delivered them, so it was always the neighbors are like, what's going on?
Well, then we switched to,
Office staff, I know.
yeah.
He
Airmail.
got fired from that.
Airmail. Okay, and that's all I have.
I have a question for you. A while back, we voted on a grant for, I think it was through T-Mobile, that arch banner. What, anything, have we gotten any info or what's going on with that?
Yes, yes,
Where have you been, Scott?
yes, we got it.
We got it?
Not the T-Mobile one.
Not the T-Mobile, but,
Okay.
Matt, tell them where it
Yeah,
came
Mount
from.
Hood
Yeah,
territory.
Clackamas County Tourism, or also known as Mount Hood Territory. We've applied for that grant 3 years running, and I think they felt guilty. No, I'm just kidding. We had a great project, and they approved it. So we've got $43,000 from Mount Hood Territory and another $10,500 from the Ford Family Foundation. So we are in design on the pedestals for that. We can't let him start fabricating. We needed to get some engineered design on the pedestals since they're going to be accoutrements of the roadway. They have to be engineered and stamped so we can make sure they're safe. But that's really our only thing stopping us from moving forward with fabrication right now. They're kind of working on a pedestal design.
Timeframes?
Oh,
Yeah, we're I would have hoped that design would have been done already.
Okay.
But I think it's pending and should be done very, very soon. And then he has to go into fabrication. We're probably looking at towards the end of the summer, because he'll have to fabricate that and then come in, and we'll have to do some groundwork, and then come in and bring those things in on cranes, set them on those pedestals, get them tightened in, get everything strung together, because it's served by a single cable, so that we don't have to have a bucket truck to raise the banners up and down.
Did we have a decision on the creature that is going on it? Animal?
Eating squirrels.
Squirrels? Okay.
Did you say
Yeah.
creature?
Squirrels.
Yeah. He wanted
The creature.
Sasquatch.
No, the Beautification and Culture Committee has been in discussion about that. We've submitted some ideas to the artist involved and are waiting for some mock-ups of
Okay.
designs, what he can do within our budget,
Perfect.
and then we'll be coming back with that.
Congratulations to all on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Anything else?
No, that's it, thank you.
Council President Vermillion.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, ladies, for taking care of the garbage while the guys were out in
Mac
Pendleton.
rudely made that comment.
But yeah, LOC was a very great time. There were several great sessions. There were a couple not so great, but there were those. I mean, I wanted to go to this session, or excuse me, to this conference because of the charter review, and that was just chock full of information that obviously we've been able to put into practice right away with what we're doing. So that was awesome. And of course, one of the highlights too is just reconnecting with those electeds that we've had relationships through the years, and networking with them, and finding out what's going on in their cities, and of course constantly getting drilled at what is going on in Molalla, because there's so much going on. Of course we're getting awards and everyone's happy. Things are happening, things are getting built. So it was a great time to again see Molalla emphasized and outlined in the conference. So yeah, the guys had a great time, and we behaved ourselves.
Sure.
Mac made sure.
He was the wrong man in charge.
I think he was.
We won an award, so I did something right.
We're all here, correct? That's all I got.
You're
Yeah,
all
you all
here.
made it back.
That's true. Good point.
Well, first off, the Wednesday we left for the LOC conference, I got invited, or Councilor President Vermillion and I got invited to something that I probably is a once in a lifetime thing, and that was being able to hear Officer Christofferson's last call. And it was absolutely amazing being at, sad but amazing. I mean, it was the most yin and yang type event you could go to as a city official, because Aaron Christofferson has done absolutely so much and been so a part of our culture, especially our police culture in this city for so long. The thought of him not being here, it is sad. The thought that he got out healthy, he's going to be spending lots of time with his wife and his family. I wish him congratulations on that, but the community room at the police station was absolutely full between police, fire, his family, and it was just a really, really awesome experience to see somebody that did so much for us. And so I really appreciated his service for our community. Next one at police station. I said I'd come back to this. And partially the award. I want to thank city staff. There is not a time that I think any of us can go out of town to a conference, to meetings outside of this city, where we do not get complimented or asked why this city is doing so well, or what are we doing, what's in the water. And it's the easiest answer is we have an incredible staff that thinks outside the box, that maybe not live in the city, but they care more about this city than the ones they live in. You all make our jobs so much easier. Well, except Mr. Zinder sometimes, he really confuses me, but you guys really, really make our jobs easy. Going, we went to the LOC conference. I tried everything I could to get Mac to go accept the award, because that award is your guys's. You came to us with the idea for the Molalla Current. You guys implemented it. We advertised. All we did was be the mouthpiece for it, and it wins us an award. You guys do a phenomenal job. You're underrated by, your colleagues in other cities. They do not understand the work. Our police department, planning, when people ask how we're not in trouble with ethics, being able to say, well, we have this phenomenal city recorder that not only does our city recorder, she is in charge of our elections, and she keeps up on all of our OJEC. Oh, and by the way, she has somebody she's training to take over for her someday. And they ask, how? They can't even just do their city recorder duties. There's a synergy here. The council and staff have this incredible symbiotic relationship. It works well. It'll be very sad at the end of this year, the changes that will be coming. But please understand, we're only as good as you guys. And I really, really appreciate how easy you make our lives and our jobs up here. The police station, phenomenal work. That people are asking us why we're not putting a class together at these conferences on how to do projects on time and under budget. And I said, well, get a hold of Mr. Huff. And this is just one other thing that goes to show how well this city works together. So with that, I say thank you. Thank you for making our lives easier. Thank you for all the work you guys put into this. I think I can speak on behalf of my 6 colleagues. We appreciate you and thank you very much. And with that, for the good of the order, this meeting is adjourned.